I've been at ETSU for all except the first two presidents of ETSU. Mr. Bergen Dossett was president when I came to school here in the mid-60s, and I've been here for all the rest of them. I'd have to say one of my very favorite memories is coming home from Vietnam and coming to work at ETSU as a student worker. I was blessed to be taken into an office where I was shown three mentors, Mr. Ted Mowry, Mr. O.E. Price, and Dr. James Lloyd, all who shaped my future, taught me how to get things done and get them done right.
Part of my job was to hire all the student workers in the office. And Doug came in and he became very quickly the overseer of all of those because of his experience in the Army. I think the med school were very lucky to have him.
I think without question the most significant change that ever happened at ETSU during my tenure here has been the advent of the Quillen College of Medicine. This position has given me the opportunity to meet and work with every student to ever come to the Quillen College of Medicine, and that's pushing up close to 3,000 students now.
I met Doug 37 years ago when he was introducing me to Quillen and recruiting me to be a student here. It's impossible to overstate the impact that Doug has had on Quillen and on healthcare for the region. And so every student that has ever come to Quillen has been admitted by Doug and in some ways been recruited by Doug.
I've worked alongside Doug in admissions for over 20 years. From the time I met Doug, he has always challenged to find a better way of doing things, not to just adopt it and adapt to it, but to be a leader. And that kind of drive has gotten him recognized even on the national level. Across the nation, he is known for his championship of holistic review in medical school applications.
What's kept me here over the 50 years are the people that I've gotten to work with here, and there's no better place on earth than this one right here, and I fully believe that. ETSU is a great place. It's got great leadership, which is the most important thing. It gives you what you need. It lets you grow. Because if you're not changing, you're getting behind.
I first met Doug Taylor in 1996. I was an undergrad in the University of Tennessee, and I was taking a class that was geared for pre-medical students that had a rotating group of speakers. And one week, it was Doug Taylor. When I was sitting in the lecture, I knew I had to meet this man. And when I met Doug, I shook his hand and looked him in the face, and I felt like I was the only person in the room. So I knew Quillen was the place that I wanted to call home. So I applied and I was waitlisted. So I was on the waitlist purgatory for several months. And then in the early spring of 1997, I had tragedy that struck my family, and my father passed away unexpectedly at a very young age. So it was one of those storms of life that we all go through. I was 22, dealing with a change in my family dynamics, trying to wrap up my undergrad, and still had no definitive plans for the upcoming year. About 7 to 10 days after my dad passed, I got a letter from ETSU. Not a form letter with a clear plastic typed address. This was handwritten, and it was from Doug Taylor. And he said all the nice condolences that a man of God would say. And I remember the very end was, "The night is darkest right before the dawn, and all is not lost." And this was followed by an invitation to breakfast a couple weeks later. We sat face to face at a Waffle House. He asked all the appropriate questions about how I and my family were dealing with my dad's passing. He was really vetting me to make sure that I was eager and of sound mind to begin medical school. And when we left that breakfast, all I could think of is why is this man treating me so special out of all the thousands of applicants? And it was years later that I figured this out. A letter did finally come that I did get into ETSU, and then 4 years flew by. 4 of the best years of my life. And during that time, you get to intimately know your classmates. And that's when I figured out the answer to my question. Why did Doug Taylor treat me so special? And the answer is simple. He didn't. He treats everyone special. Everyone has a Doug Taylor story. Everyone has a Doug Taylor moment. Congratulations on 50 years.